trying to shock the world here.
There's no way you disagree with this.
Stop. John Leahy?
Yes.
You're going to take a player spot away from a president?
In my head, here's the box. I'm gonna bring back the box, but then there's another box inside of it.
Oh, there's a smaller
You're
box.
in there.
They roll 1 for 10.
Terrible.
10%. How are you going to do that? You can't win games like that.
Bobcat breakdown.
Bobcat breakdown.
Bobcat breakdown.
Bobcat breakdown starting right now.
Welcome to Bobcat Breakdown. I'm your host, Casey Nadelka, alongside my two analysts, Keith Savage and Paul Siracusa. This episode is extra special, as it'll be Paul's first and last time as an analyst on Bobcat Breakdown. How you feeling, Paul?
All right, I'm feeling great. I'm ready to debate you, Keith.
That's going to be a great show. I'm excited for it.
All right, let's jump right into some men's basketball. First-year forward Rihards Vavers has been a bright spot for the Bobcats within their first 8 games. He's considered by many to be the best shooter on the team, and he allows the Bobcats to spread the floor, which opens up scoring opportunities for players such as Matt Belanc and Savion Lewis. Vavers did miss the last game against the Niagara Purple Eagles, which the Bobcats ended up winning 75-68 in overtime. Considering the fact that Quinnipiac won without Vavers in the lineup, how important do you think he'll be to the team's success in MAC play? Paul, start us off.
So he's certainly an important player for the Bobcats, but he's not as important as such players as Paul Otieno, Matt Belanc, Savion Lewis, and overall, his minutes have decreased since the game against UMass. His points have decreased from 16.5 to single digits, and overall, his shooting efficiency is way down, going from 1 to 5 twice, 1 for 6, 3 for 9. Overall, it's just he's not playing as efficiently. I think he's a promising player for the future, but overall, right now he's just got to play to his role, and that includes limited shooting opportunities, and he's got to perform better in that spot.
I think he's going to have a huge impact, and even though they did beat Niagara when he wasn't there, but his impact at the end of the game is just going to be the most important part, because around the end of the mark is when they said you're going to have to set up those money plays that you want to win the game, and Vavers, we've already seen it a few times this season where out of bounds plays, they're going to set something up for him on an off-ball screen, like I talked about Paul Otieno. He is a huge impact, and once they get down the road, again, you don't know why you missed the game, but if he is to miss time, they don't have that shooter, an elite shooter, you can set off-ball screens, but to get those shots that needed to win a game. So that's the big thing. You need to get those plays set up, and Tom McCord has that. Without him, you don't have someone that has that extra attention, because now you need somebody all on him at all time. They can't leave it wide open, because he's going to drain those threes. You shoot a 41%, 3 games with over 3 points.
He's just not shooting efficiently. You got to look at the 3-point percentage. His
I get
last
that.
4 games, he's not shooting well.
Yeah.
This isn't the 3-point shooter you think he is right now.
He's the first year. He's going to go through some slumps as that goes by. But overall, he's going to get better as the season goes by. More opportunities. He wasn't the starter to start the season. He's going to have more chances to get better and better. 3 for 8 in his last game was a pretty good game. If you could say he slowed down a little bit in the beginning. But overall, in the beginning of the season, he was phenomenal. He's going to keep on going as the season goes by.
All right. Yeah, but overall, it's just, I know he's a first year, so that is right. You know, slumps will happen. But he's not trying to play this big role. He's not expected to be a top 3 player on the team. He's just trying to fill a role right here. And overall, when you look at the role, they're not asking him for a whole lot right now, which is why he should be able to meet those requirements right now.
Let's wait and see.
All right, as I mentioned in the last question, the men's basketball team kicked off MAC play this past weekend. They lost to the Canisius Golden Griffins on Friday by a score of 93-73, but responded with a hard-fought overtime victory against Niagara. The Bobcats still have 5 out-of-conference games remaining, and graduate point guard Savion Lewis has been shouldering a large load for the Bobcats up to this point. He's currently averaging 28.5 minutes per game, which is the second highest on the team. For a player who's dealt with injuries his entire career, should the team manage Lewis's minutes in the remaining out-of-conference games so that he can produce at a high level in MAC play? Keith, you go first.
Paul, 70% of games, how many times do you think Savion Lewis has done this in his 4 seasons?
I would say, can you repeat the question?
So, this is in his 5th season. He's played 4 full seasons. How many times has he played over 70% of the games, you think?
I'm going to say never.
He's done it actually once his sophomore season, and now he's in his 5th year here. Or you could say his 6th, he redshirted in the first year. But overall, he can't play full games. He said he worked out a bit too much, and that's how you manage his health. But overall, now in these next few games, I don't think it's just these next 5 games he has to manage. It's all of these games the rest of the season. It's not uncommon to see in the NBA, like we see these guys to rest out. Like, it's nothing wrong to rest a player when that opportunity is needed. You played 21 games last year, limited. But you need him for March. March is when you need him because every team makes the tournament. Every single team is going to make it. You want to hit your stride in March, and overall, you need him to play the most during that time. So I think he has to play less minutes, and I think he should even be benched a few games just to secure his health.
Keith, I understand your point. Obviously you don't want him to get hurt. If he's hurt, then yeah, don't play. But if he's not hurt, you gotta play him. He's so important to this team. I mean, you heard Matt Belong say it the other day. Whenever the ball's in his hands, he feels confident that they're gonna score.
Yeah.
He's gonna make a nice pass. He'll finish around the basket. And in terms of limiting his time, he hasn't made a three this year. He's not a three-point shooter, kind of like Ben Simmons, a point guard who can't shoot three-pointers. So with that, I would say instead of taking him out for certain games, like out of MAC conference games, I would just, in situations where you need the three, you take him out and you put in the replacement. That's what they should be doing there. That's how you limit it. And you find different points where you need the three-point shooting and when you don't.
I think another key reason needed to get some minutes down because they only have two ball handlers. It's Savion Lewis and Doug Young. But you have to find a third because with the history that he has, there's a chance that something's going to pop up and he's going to miss some time. So you need that third ball handler. And right now, say something happens, it's just Doug Young who you can trust with the ball. Louis Corey transferred out of it. Desi Jones, you need those guys that can handle the ball. And they don't have that right now. If Savion it has to miss time. So I think these non-conference games, you can miss a few games. I say, of course, you want him that Florida game right before the MAC. But he can miss 1 or 2 games. That's totally okay
But
to
Keith,
have.
he has so much defensive versatility. You can't just get rid of that. And you're right. There are some places on the team where they're missing players with certain attributes. You're right. But the point is they don't have them. They need him to fill those roles. As I said, the defensive versatility. You have a player such as Doug Young, as you said. He doesn't provide the same defensive intensity as you see from Savion Lewis. That's something that's very important on the perimeter.
Paul, I hate to cut you off. You're making great points, but we have to go to our first commercial break of the night. Do not go anywhere, because coming up next is a holiday-themed segment right here on Bobcat Breakdown.
I think it's just vapor with flavor.
It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes, right?
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Casey Nadelka, joined by analysts Keith Savage and Paul Siracusa. Now guys, the holidays are coming up fast, so it's only fitting to indulge in a little holiday-themed segment. I told you guys to pick your favorite holiday song lyrics and explain why those specific lyrics made you think of certain Quinnipiac teams. First up, Paul. Give us your lyric and tell us why it makes you think of the men's basketball team.
So the song I chose was All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. And I have this represented of head coach Tom Pecora in particular. You know, coming into the season, after Baker Dunleavy left the team, the immediate future looked bleak. And Pecora needed to change that culture. And currently the team right now, 6-2 overall. You have players such as Matt Belong, Paul Otieno, Savion Lewis, and Amari Tice all playing really well. and now the team is scoring 10 more points a game with the same team. And the three-point shooting has gotten a lot more efficient too, from 30 to 36%. And that's with a point guard who does not shoot the three-point ball. So overall, he's done a terrific job with this team.
All right, Keith, it's over to you. Tell us your lyric and why it makes you think of the women's basketball team.
Well, here's something funny, Paul. We have the same song. All I Want for Christmas is You by Mariah Carey. I also have the same exact song.
It's because we have great taste.
I know, but this one's a little bit different. This is going around Mackenzie Dewey. She's not here anymore. But the Bobcats have been struggling finding a second option on this team. And having Mackenzie Dewey would have been massive on this team. Even though last year she was 100%, any of Mackenzie Dewey's former MAC Player of the Year, if they had her on the team, this team would probably be 500 or over 500. It says they need someone like that too, because they're also missing a second ball handler. Because right now, they only have one, mainly Paige Rihards. Has she played 40 minutes in the previous game? Just having that second ball handler like Mackenzie Dewey, who's also, again, a MAC Player of the Year, would have put the team into another level.
All right, we spread some holiday cheer to both basketball teams, but we can't leave out the other winter sports teams. So, for the men's ice hockey team, let us hear your lyric and why it makes you think of the reigning national champions. Keith, back to you.
So right here I have, it's the most wonderful time of the year by Andy Williams. But it's because this team gets it going after Christmas time. It happens every single year. So their record between Christmas and January 19th, Paul, how many games do you think they've lost?
I'm going to go with, let's go with 10.
No, they're 7-0 in that time span between Christmas and January 19th. They don't lose at all. They've had a few early losses to start the season, but they've been starting to pick it back up. And I think during those Christmas season, they're going to pick it up even more. Because when they get in that time of the year, they get in that groove, and they want to, again, go back in that league level where they can be in the contention to win national championship. But Paul, let me hear yours.
I mean, my song, it's Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Bruce Springsteen, the boss, New Jersey legend. So right now, you look at the lyrics, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, and that is totally representative of the men's ice hockey team, because right now, the team is the boss of the ECAC. We know what happened last year in the national title. They've won 7 of their last 8 games, and right now, they're forcing other teams to play their style of hockey. Other teams just aren't feeling comfortable when they head to M&T Bank Arena. And right now, you look at the team right now, Sam Lipkin playing extremely well, got a weekly award last week. Vinny Duplessis performing very well behind the net. Right now, it's just looking great for men's ice hockey right now.
All right, last but not least, we have the women's ice hockey team. What holiday lyric made you think of the women's ice hockey team, Paul?
So it was the Hanukkah song by Adam Sandler. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, guys, but the lyric I was thinking was, here comes Hanukkah, so much Funukkah. Here comes women's hockey, so much Funukkah to watch. They won their last 8 of 9 games. Kate Reilly set a QU record for most goals scored by a defender. Sadie Peart is playing extremely well. Skating with the Bobcats was a success. And, I mean, you can't put a price on what you do for the community. And overall, just the vibes are good with the squad right now.
Yeah, I have a very similar one to you, and I love with the song that you chose. I'm doing, for me, Walking in a Winter Wonderland by Michael Bublé. Because this team, ever since winter, or you could say a week before winter, once that cold winter kind of air kind of showed up, they've been on a roll. They've been 4-0 since November 24th, and they're playing legit teams. They beat Yale and UConn, both ranked teams. Like, they've hit their groove at the right time. And walking over to Wonderland, this has been great so far as they go into the winter. They won now 4 games, all by over 2 goals, as they want to continue to make a run into some more ECAC play as the season goes by.
Paul, I have to say I loved your remix of the Hanukkah song, but that's probably the jolliest segment we've ever had on Bobcat Breakdown. Unfortunately, we have to go to a second commercial break, but Grandma, don't turn the TV off just yet, because when we come back, the guys are going to debate if there's a new heir to the throne and is the best defender in Quinnipiac women's ice hockey history.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home, sweet home. You aced house hunting.
I can hear
now
him.
get the tips you need to get on track
I
and
think he was
ace your
trying to tell me
retirement.
to elaborate on something.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all
Is
good,
it,
baby.
Is it really all good?
You can't hear him, right?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Casey Nadelka, alongside analysts Keith Savage and Paul Siracusa. Let's pick the show back up with the men's ice hockey team. It was reported that junior forward Colin Graff had the opportunity to sign a pro contract after winning the national championship with the Bobcats last season. However, he returned to Hamden in hopes of winning a second straight national championship. The decisions worked out in his favor so far, as he recorded his 100th collegiate point this past Friday in a 5-1 victory over RPI. Considering the fact that he achieved this milestone, did Colin Graff make the right decision coming back for his junior year? Keith?
I think he made the perfect choice of coming back. Because, of course, you're coming off national championship, you can't do much better than as a team. But as a player, he has a chance to be the best player on the team. He has that golden chance, and he's been proven to be one of the best. 11 games so far, 8 goals, 12 assists. He was awesome last year, too, with 21 goals and 38 assists in 41 games. Like, him staying here is going to increase his draft stock even more and getting signed. That's the main thing. You want to have the opportunity to make it to the big leagues. That's where you really want to go for. And I think right here, this season has helped him out a lot. But, Paul, what do you have?
I mean, I understand your point. I mean, everyone loves college, but he should have went pro. I mean, you don't always have these opportunities, and sure, maybe he could get it in the future, but there's so many examples throughout professional sports where you have players who decided to stay in college a little too long, and it just hurt their draft stock. Trey Jones of Duke a couple years back is one name that rings a bell. And just right now, I mean, this isn't this story of a young player who was playing well and had an established star behind. I mean, he was playing really well. Like, he was taking time away from Skylar Brendamore, Ethan DeYoung last year. So with that, I mean, he should be able to do that as well in the professional league. I think he should have went pro. I understand he's playing really well, but he should have went pro, man.
I get that, but you also just got to think of those guys who've also had success stories. You want to go back to NBA, John Moran, he did his second year of college, he gets drafted number 2 in the league. So going those extra years sometimes do pay off, and I think Keith, he's paying off. He's gonna have a better opportunity. He can probably get more cash. If he has it.
John Moran. I mean, now I feel now that did. Excuse me, John Morant. I mean, yeah, he started out well in the pros. You know, he was playing well with the Grizzlies. It's just, well, you know, he kind of came out of nowhere with the team, and it was just kind of a different situation in college for him. You know, usually these type of players who go top 5, they're usually ranked for the past couple of years, and he just kind of came out of nowhere, led the team into the NCAA tournament and had success. But I feel he's more the exception than is the norm.
Yeah, I agree with that, but overall, I just think Colin Graff, he's going to make more money this year from making that choice to stay another year in college.
All right, let's shift over to the women's side. This past Friday, Kate Reilly recorded a new milestone in her career. She collected her 79th collegiate point, moving her to first place in the all-time ranking of Quinnipiac women's ice hockey defensive scoring. The previous Bobcat to hold this honor was Reagan Bolton, who scored her 77th point in the 2013-14 season. Now that Reilly's become the top scoring defender, is it safe to say she's the best defender in Quinnipiac women's ice hockey history? Paul, what do you think?
Look, Kate Reilly is a terrific defender, best defender on the team currently. But we have to respect history right now. We got to talk Emma Grieco, right now playing for the Toronto Six, having a lot of success there. And remember, we're talking about the best defender in Quinnipiac history. Right now, she played really well for Quinnipiac as a defenseman, 72 block shots. But you got to remember, she also played soccer, defense for the women's soccer team.
Wow.
And if I know anything, 2 is always better than 1.
That is true. If I have to ask you something, if the Quinnipiac Bobcats women's ice hockey team win the ECAC and Kate Reilly's the leader, do you say she's the best defender of all time?
No.
I think different. If this team wins the ECAC, I reckon now I have her as the best defender of all time at Quinnipiac. But I think if they win the ECAC this year, which I think they're going to, I'm going to go that far. I think Kate Reilly is going to be a leader of that. She's been doing everything she wants. 25 goals, 54 assists.
Keith, I know she's great at scoring goals, but there's just way more important elements as a defender. It's not just about scoring. Yeah, that's what makes her special, because not as many defenders are able to do that. But it's also about blocking shots, and that's just something that Grieco just exceeds with her. And I remind you again the question, best defender in Quinnipiac history. It's got to be Grieco. Soccer and ice hockey. 2. Can you imagine playing 2 sports at a collegiate level, NCAA level?
Yeah, you see that women's ice hockey now. Logan Andrews, same exact spot basically. Now playing for the baseball team though, softball team, excuse me, as a catcher. But overall, a first baseman. Overall, I just think Kate Reilly. It's just that stats just back it up too much. I mean, you just watch her impact all around
right.
the impacts.
Keith, I gotta cut you off because I got one last question for you. Between Colin Graff and Kate Reilly, who do you think is the better player?
I guess I'll start this one off, and I'm going to go Colin Graff. It's simple because they won a national championship, and he was a crucial part of that team. So I think you have to go Colin Graff simply because of how big of an impact he had on that monumental moment in Quinnipiac history.
I mean, you're absolutely right about his monumental moment in history, and I believe you are correct. But just to play devil's advocate with you for a little bit, you know, Kate Reilly, we look at what she's doing for the defensive team right now. I mean, I know I just said she's not the best defender in Quinnipiac history, but nonetheless, she is the best defender on the team. You see her impact, able to score goals, which something on the defensive end is just incredible to see. Something you don't see a lot from typical defenders, and she's doing a great job blocking shots. And right now, she's one of the main reasons why this team has won 8 of their last 9. And right now, the trend looks like it'll continue.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Like, 2 great players, and again, we'll have to wait till the end of the season to really decide who it is, but, well, again, I think it's Colin Graff, but again, we'll have to wait till the end of the season.
Alright, with that, it's time for our last commercial break of the night. When we return, myself, Keith Savage, and of course, Paul Siracusa, will give our final roars, as well as take a look back on the work QBSN has done this past semester.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. What? Mom? Tina. Oh.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, I'm your host, Casey Nadelka, joined alongside analysts Keith Savage and Paul Siracusa. While we put in a lot of hard work here at Q30, the members of QBSN work just as hard, if not harder, to keep you up to date on everything going on in Quinnipiac athletics. Keith, what are your favorite QBSN moments?
There's so many, but I remember broadcasting women's lacrosse playoff game last season. It was one of my favorites.
Paul?
For me, it had to be broadcasting the rugby game last year.
I'm going to go into my moment in a minute when we go to our final roars. Or QBSN now.
This semester, QBSN has been up to so much already. We've been able to go to the MAC volleyball tournament. We have our first magazine out. We've gotten a lot of involvement from the first years. It's been an exciting semester, and I cannot wait for the next semester.
So one thing that I feel like from the broadcast manager side, the biggest thing that we got for QBSN this year is that every game over Thanksgiving break was broadcasted by QBSN. So that's a pretty big accomplishment.
My favorite memory from this fall mag had to be Brianna's rugby story because she went into detail about the team, and we even got to include a photo dump of all the rugby photos QBSN photographers took during the season.
We've had a lot of new people sign up for photo, so that's been really cool to kind of see everyone kind of come from different levels of talent, and really put together overall a very, very good semester of shooting. We've had so many good games, so many good shots.
And one thing both Mike and I are looking forward to next semester is getting more involved on the game sheet. You know, we both have very busy schedules, but we're very excited to just get more involved and just get back on the game sheet.
We're making new breaking news graphics, which will be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see how those will look and kind of add some updated to them. And then I know we want to start doing Instagram story takeovers and maybe getting some more like TikTok content out and video content.
My favorite thing that I've done through QBSN this year was go up to Boston University in Boston, Massachusetts to commentate the Quinnipiac Bobcats versus the Boston University Terriers.
I think my favorite QBSN memory from this semester was the opportunity to get to broadcast a game with Becca Maine in field hockey.
Growing up as a Boston College fan when I was a little kid, if I looked back and 10-year-old me saw where I was now, he'd be overjoyed. And just seeing me cover a Boston College versus Quinnipiac game, you can't write a better story.
I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait to see what QBSN does in the upcoming semester. And with that, it's time for final roars. But this time, I'll go first. When I entered Quinnipiac as a first year in 2021, I had no idea what I wanted to do for a living. As a film major, I got a lot of experience working behind the camera, but it wasn't until I needed something to do on a Quinnipiac Film Society set and someone literally handed me a camera that I found my passion. I started off in film photography, shooting capstone productions and at Sundance Film Festival premieres, and I even began taking photos for Q30 and this very show. This past year, however, I dipped my foot into sports photography with QBSN and I fell in love with it. I got the opportunity to shoot rugby, field hockey, soccer, and I was even there when the women's ice hockey team won the Nutmeg Classic last month. I made great connections with athletes and Quinnipiac athletic staff, and these experiences have inspired a love of sports production. I've been working as a camera operator for ESPN+, I recently started as a game day producer for them through Q30, and I work behind the scenes for Sports Pause and Bobcat Breakdown every chance I get. I'm so grateful for the opportunities I have, the field I stumbled into, and the amazing friends I've made and get to work with every day.
My final roar is going to be a bit different than what you usually see. It's not about an athlete or a team. It's about the guy sitting across the desk from me, Paul Siracusa. This is the last time on Q30 Sports, and his impact has benefited the station long term. Paul served as associate producer for Sports Ball since August of 2022, and has been a volleyball, women's rugby, and lacrosse beat reporter. But those accomplishments are not the reason why I am talking about him. It's simply because the type of person he is. This guy can walk into a room and instantly make everyone's day better. Before every Sports Ball show for the last few months, Paul would write a question of the day on the board with the most bizarre thing you could think of, and everyone loved it. I also can't talk about Mondays without the iconic all-black jumpsuit that was worn for each show. I will look forward to that day every week because I knew I could crack some jokes with Paul. And it would be a key reason why I love to show up, whether the jokes came from his Snoop Dogg impression or just being himself. I value my time around him. I always have a smile on my face when I hear Paul say, "What's up, my guy?" when someone greets him. And with everything going on in the world, more people have to be like Paul. He always values making others happy, no matter what. Paul, I'm going to miss seeing you around campus, but I know the future is bright for you. Keep being yourself, and everything will go your way.
Thank you, Keith. That means a lot. During my 3.5 years at Quinnipiac, I've been fortunate enough to produce Sports Pause and beat report the volleyball, lacrosse, and rugby teams for Q30 television with some of the hardest working and creative people I know. As I prepare for life's next adventure, I would like to thank my supportive family and all the great people I've met during my time at Q30 and QU. I would not be here without their support. I'm extremely lucky to have formed such quality friendships that will last a lifetime. Thank you all for having me and making my college experience so memorable. I wish you all nothing but continued success. Thank you.
Yesterday I joined the fucking show early. You were incredible. Good fucking show. Casey, great job. Thank you for